All right. Hello, 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 and welcome to today's live. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Today, what we're going to do is a live, excuse me, a live Q&A session. I have a couple of questions queued up in advance so we can get the ball rolling. But at any point during this video, if you have questions about selling your handmade products online and you're not quite sure like where you should be and what platforms you should be using, or you have specific issues on particular platforms, ask in the comments. That's what we are here for today. That's what I'm here for today, is to answer any of your questions. So we're going to start off again with some pre-written questions. They were submitted to me in advance. So I'm going to start off with those questions, and then we'll get into your guys' questions as well. I am going to be mentioning while on this video, while answering questions, there are several times you're going to hear me reference Handmade Sellers Club. And what Handmade Sellers Club is, it is a monthly membership program where we teach you how to sell your handmade products online, specifically using my super seller system. When you join Handmade Sellers Club, you get access to my entire super seller system, which is my system for selling handmade products on Facebook, which I believe is the fastest, easiest, cheapest way to start selling your products online. And then you also get the community where you can ask questions. You get our pricing for profit training. You get the weekly calls, monthly challenges, all things that I have found improve results. That's not quite the word I want to use. But get people results faster. There you go. That improve results and get people results faster. Because I have found that if you just hand somebody a training of like, this is exactly how you do XYZ, which is what the super seller system is. But if they don't have support and the ability to ask questions and, a motivating call at the beginning of the week to get their week going, and just kind of a mirror put up from time to time, like, hey, are you getting done what you want to get done? Are you accomplishing the goals that you want to accomplish? Because it's very easy for us to just get complacent and start to, all right, I kind of know the things that I need to do, but I'm not really doing it right now. And I'm getting distracted by this. I'm getting distracted by that. And, life is happening and I'll get to it later. And next thing you know, months have gone by, 6 months, a year, and you're not getting anywhere with your business. And we want you to get results very quickly. So we provide all the resources and support that you need in order to start making sales online fast. And that is Handmade Sellers Club. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to Handmade Sellers Club in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to be referencing it several times throughout this call. So if you're curious about that, if you think, hey, that's something that I would kind of like to look into, that is that. We do have a 2-week trial. It's only $7 to join at the 2-week trial. For $7, you get everything that is included in Handmade Sellers Club for a solid 2 weeks. Come in, give it a try, give it a test drive. If it's a good match for you, perfect. You can stay. It's only $27 a month after that. If you join and you're like, hey, this isn't really my learning style, or this doesn't really apply to my business, which if you have a handmade business, it does. But, some people it's not quite their style. Maybe they don't want to go social media. Maybe they really want to double down into their Etsy sales. This is not an Etsy training platform. This is about building your own brand and creating your own following on Facebook specifically. So if you join and it's not quite right for you, no problem. You can cancel anytime within that 2-week trial and you won't be charged anything else. So that link is in the comments. I am not seeing comments. So if comments are coming through, I'm not seeing them. So I'm going to double check to make sure that we are good there. If somebody could leave a comment, and just so that I know that I'm seeing comments. I don't need a lot of comments, but all right, it's only showing one comment there. All right. Hi, Alice. Thank you. I just wasn't seeing any come through, and sometimes things happen and you don't see comments. Usually on StreamYard, it's pretty good though. Um, so let's just jump right into it. Let's jump into questions. And Jeff has already posted a question. So I have some pre-submitted questions, but I would rather answer your guys' questions live. So we'll jump to those other questions if the questions here dry up. But if Jeff submitted a question, we're going to start with him. Again, if you have questions about selling your handmade products online, whether it's through a website, whether it's through social media, whatever it is that you're getting stuck on with online sales, ask in the comments and we'll talk about it. All right. Jeff says, I'm using Facebook to drive customers to events and to a website for sales. Should I be selling directly on Facebook in addition or instead of the website? That is a fantastic question. So my philosophy, my way that I approach this is that we're trying to build an audience of people who want to buy from us first. And so at the very beginning, when you say I'm using Facebook to drive customers to events and to a website, so I assume you mean in-person events. You're probably being too salesy in your posts with driving people to your website. And you might even be including a link in your posts to your website. I don't know that for sure, but that's going to be my guess that I'm making just based off of that comment. So what happens when you view Facebook as a promotion tool for your website or for your events is you end up getting really, really salesy. And you're like, hey, go on over to my website to check out this new product that I just listed over there. Now on social media, because it's social media, the algorithm is designed to reward engagement, interaction, and conversations, not link clicks and not visits to the website. So even if you say like, hey, this is for sale, it's $26, let me know and I'll send you a link to the website, that's still very, very salesy and not very engaging. So if we're going to use Facebook to its highest capacity, what I recommend that you do is definitely have your website linked in the about details of your Facebook page. If you have a website, I'm not saying not to use your website. But a lot of my clients that start with me have zero website and are making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in sales before they ever decide to build a website. So making those sales on Facebook actually becomes much easier because we're focusing on engagement and interaction and building our brand versus just trying to make the sale. And I compare this a lot to dating, right? If you just walk up to somebody at the bar and say, hey, you want to get married? It's a little too fast, right? It's a little too fast. It's a little too sudden. You have to build a relationship first. Now, there are some people that are impulsive buyers. And I don't say that as a negative thing. They're able to make a decision quickly that, yes, I want to buy this thing. But for a lot of people, it takes them a little bit of time, especially on a platform like Facebook, where they're not really there to buy, right? So people go to Etsy to buy. Facebook, they're just kind of learning like about their cousin's vacation. They're finding out what their, college roommate is up to. They're keeping up on the news, right? They're being entertained by short videos. And then you have your product in the middle of that. So they're not already in a buyer mindset. Now, this sounds like a negative, but I actually like this approach much better because when you're on Etsy and everybody knows that that's where all the buyers are is on Etsy, all your competitors are there. It's a dog eat dog world on Etsy. On Facebook, each brand is pretty much just on its own. It's its own little island, and it has the ability to attract people when they have their guard down and when they're in the mode of discovering things, right? They want to discover something new. They want to find something new. And when you go on to Facebook with a sales approach, then you're kind of turning them off because that's not what they're there for. They're not there to buy. They're not there to be sold to. Let's put it that way. But they will buy, right? But they're not there to be sold to. So when you're using Facebook, I recommend that you approach Facebook as a platform where you're having conversations, again, engaging, asking questions, having a back and forth, and sharing your overall journey of being in business. When you do that, this amazing thing happens. Instead of you leaning in and saying, like, I need a thing. I have a giant here. I had a giant pencil, but that was a bit big. I got this crystal. Like, oh, see this thing, buy it, buy it from me, buy it from me. Here's a link to my website. Here's a link to my website. Go buy it, go buy it, go buy it. Instead of that, you're leaning back and saying, I really love this crystal. It's really, really great. Think of, like, it just occurred to me, Tom Sawyer and Painting the Fence, right? Like, if you say that painting the fence is a drudgery, nobody else wants to do it. But if you act like it's the most fun thing on the planet, then everybody's like, hey, what is it that you're doing over there? So you're leaning back saying, I really love this crystal. It's absolutely fantastic. In fact, the greens in it, I've just never seen greens like this before. And of all the crystals that I just got in, this one is just, oh my gosh, it's just the most amazing. And when you lean back and you talk about your products that way and not buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, when you lean back, your customer starts to lean forward and says, what about that crystal? Tell me a little bit more about that crystal. How much is that crystal? And then you get to the point where you have practically bidding wars. We've had clients who have had 3 or 4 customers message them at the same time and say, I have to have that. Don't sell that to anybody else. It's going to come to me, right? And then they have to figure out how to wade through that and who was the first to message. So it's creating, again, this environment where they're leaning into you and they get excited when they see content from you because your content is engaging, it's interesting, it's interactive. And then you just send them an invoice. You don't even need to have a website. In fact, a lot of people that have websites, I think are shooting themselves in the foot by sending somebody a link to the website to purchase versus saying, can I send you an invoice? If you send somebody an invoice, you're going to much higher likelihood that that's going to turn into a sale than if you send somebody a link to go buy it on your website. But you only want to do either one of those when they've already leaned in and said, yeah, I'm really interested. I want to buy that. That needs to belong to me now, right? So let's be clear about what selling on Facebook is. It's not setting up a Facebook shop, right? I'm not saying anything about that. I'm not saying put links in your post to send people back to your website. That's not selling on Facebook. Selling on Facebook is building your brand, attracting your ideal customer, and then engaging with them in a way that makes them lean in and ask to buy your product. The algorithm loves it. The customer loves it. And good news about Facebook is everything that the customer loves, the algorithm loves too. So the algorithm loves it, the customer loves it. And you don't have to go through all the work of building a website, setting up a website. And again, some people want to go that far. And if you already have one, great. But I have members in Handmade Sellers Club that they wait a while before they put their new items on their website because they're selling them so quickly and easily on Facebook that they don't have to go through all the work of actually uploading it to the website. They just like go on video and say, hey, check this out. And somebody says, yeah, I want to buy that. And they're like, cool, here's the invoice. And they never even have to take the pictures and write the descriptions and figure out the shipping weight and all. I mean, you do have to figure out the shipping weight because you are going to end up shipping it. But you don't have to do all of the hard work of loading something onto a website. So that's my recommendation. And then for those people who are maybe a little nervous, like they're leaning in and they're not really sure and they don't want to say anything because they don't want to feel sold to, right? Some people are really afraid of being sold to. If you do have a website or even Etsy and you have that link in your about, they can go check you out. Right? They can find you easy enough. If I'm on a Facebook page and I think that what they have is really cool and interesting, and I don't really want to ask about the product in the comments, I want to know immediately, like, what do they have? I'll go check out their about and check it out. And if they don't have a website in the about, I'll just go through their page and start looking at other products. I'll go to their pictures, go through there. Some people even set up albums to kind of be a catalog so that if they don't have a website, that they at least have an album of items that they have available or items that they've previously sold that you can like, oh yeah, I like that. Can you make one of those for me? All without the tech of building a website. So your question is, should I be selling directly on Facebook in addition to or instead of the website? Both. If you already have the website, use the website. And the more that you have that engagement on your Facebook page, the more website sales that you're going to get. But if you're using Facebook to try to drive traffic to your website through direct links and being salesy, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. And this is what makes a lot of people say, well, Facebook doesn't work because I'm not getting sales on my website. You're approaching it as a sales platform instead of a social media platform, instead of a social networking platform, which is what Facebook is. So if you already have the website, just put it in the about. And then again, in Handmade Sellers Club with my super seller system, we give you the calendar for making the posts so that you're making posts that are not salesy, but they're actually interactive. We teach you how to use other groups with the quick cash method to get your products in front of the ideal client. Again, no website needed. We teach you how to go Facebook Live with confidence and how to do Facebook Live sales. We have members that are selling off of pretty much every Facebook Live that they're doing, and it's not even sales. It's literally just like, look at this crystal I got. Isn't it really cool? I love the colors. Aren't the colors so pretty? And people are messaging and saying, I want that. I want to buy it. We just had somebody in the group yesterday from our Reels training finally kind of got over her fears and nervousness of being in or doing a reel, and she got 3 orders from the one reel. But she didn't say, here's where you buy it from me, buy it from me, buy it from me, right? She just showed off her product. It's really just showing off your product and bringing people into, and you got to do it in the right way. Like, you can't just post pictures of your product. You got to talk about your product in a way that pulls people in, but also talk about your business in a way that pulls people in. So they know, like, and trust you, so that you are building your brand of you and your products, that entire brand building, which is way beyond logos and colors and all of that nonsense. It's about you, right? It's about you as the creator of your products. And that's what people are buying. And that's what they're leaning into. And when they buy you, they'll buy pretty much any product that you have. All right. Trish said, Trish has 2 questions. Helena says, I'll get to Trish's, but Helena says, I can't seem to get to your lives through the notifications. I keep getting cat videos. LOL. Yeah, the best thing to do is just come right to the Handmade Sellers Club page, or Handmade Success Secrets page. Sorry, not the Sellers Club group, but the Handmade Success Secrets Facebook page, and refresh. That's the best way to get it. So Trish had 2 questions. Number 1 is, what do you think about Michael's Maker Place? So I haven't really delved into Michael's Maker Place. I'm hearing these rumors about Michael saying that if we like something that you posted here, we can make our own version of it and sell it. I don't know if that's true or not. Haven't really looked into it. Look, all of these third-party platforms are pretty much the same. Michael's has a leg up because it is a well-known name, but there is Go Imagine, there's Etsy. We used to sell on Amazon, so we never did a whole lot with Etsy, but we did a lot with Amazon. Not Amazon Handmade, but just straight up Amazon. All of these third-party platforms are basically the same idea, right? Somebody else owns the platform. You're setting up your shop on, so think of it like as the mall. They're going to be the mall. You're setting up shop in the mall. You pay the mall rent, and then the mall does advertising and that sort of thing and tries to get people to come there. Now, the problem with these platforms is, 1, you don't own the platform, right? Which there's a lot of platforms we don't own. We don't own Facebook. We don't own whatever. But if Facebook shuts down your Facebook page, you can start another one. Etsy, if they shut you down, you're gone forever. There are horror stories of people getting shut down just because somebody they recommended broke a rule, and so they shut them down too. So there's a lot of risk in these third-party platforms because you're playing by their rules. You have to do exactly what they say, how they say it, in the order that they say it. Hold on 1 second. I'm getting a knock on the door. No. No problem. Okay. So you have to do what they say, how they say, and if you break any little rule, you're out of business, right? I made a video a while back saying, like, is an Etsy business a real business? And I had somebody respond to that and say, I really, because I said, no, an Etsy business is not a real business. And she said, we made $100,000 on Etsy, and next year we can make $200,000 on Etsy. I hope you rethink about whether or not Etsy is a real business or not. And no, that scares me. That really terrifies me for that person, because if you're doing $100,000 or $200,000 on Etsy and the algorithm changes and you're no longer on page one, or you get a whole bunch of drop shipping competitors, which is happening right now. This is what happened to us on Amazon. We went from making $50,000 a year on Amazon to almost nothing. Like, our sales just fell off a cliff. It could be that somebody reports your shop. I saw somebody that got reported. Their shop was reported by the scammers who stole her images and said, nah, this is our product, not hers. And she lost, right? So somebody stole her images. Another shop opened up selling that product and then claimed that hers were the ones that were stolen images, and her shop was removed, and Etsy found on the side of the scammers. Now it's being sold on Alibaba and all of that stuff. And it's, made in China drop shipping stuff. So it really terrifies me when somebody says, like, oh yeah, I have my businesses on Etsy and I do great on Etsy. I look at the third-party platforms as gravy. If you can get extra money from a third-party platform, and that's how we treated Amazon. I wish we would have treated it more like gravy, because it brought in so much business, but we always built our own email list at the time. This was before there was really too much on Facebook. Once we got a Facebook page, we were building our followers on Facebook. We were building our own list of customers that we could send to our website for sales and not have to worry about whether or not Amazon was bringing us in money or not. So if you want to sell on something like Michael's Maker Place, just know that that's always an option, that something could happen. You should always be focusing on building your own house first, which doesn't mean necessarily building your own website first. It's your own audience. The customer is the most important thing. And this is what, again, I think so many people get lost in the weeds, is they're like, oh, I need a website, a place like I'll set up my store. Even here in Sandusky, downtown Sandusky, people set up their store and they forget that there's not just people constantly walking up and down the streets looking for stores to go into. It's your responsibility to find the customers. It's your responsibility to bring people in. And on Etsy, they say that that's their responsibility, but more and more, because the competition is so tight there, people are having to bring in their own customers to Etsy. So even if you're on a Michael's Maker Place, Etsy, Go Imagine, any of those platforms, odds are you're going to have to bring in your own audience in the first place. So if it's an easy enough thing, like, hey, I just want to have a storefront, I'm going to use Michael's Maker Place, or I'm going to use the Go Imagine store, or an Etsy store, or whatever it is, that's fine. But build your audience off those platforms. Again, I like Facebook. I think Facebook is a fantastic way to build audiences. It is the social media platform that most sellers are already very familiar with. You don't have to start with short form video like you do on places like TikTok. You don't have to start with fantastic photography, which you do on Instagram. It can be a little bit more rough around the edges on Facebook, and that's kind of the charm of it. So we want it to look a little bit less polished, more authentic. Build your audience there, and then potentially build your, have a storefront on one of these third-party platforms without worrying about, if it shuts down, what are you going to do? If you've got 4,000 people following you on Facebook and they're buying from you direct, and some of them are trickling over to Etsy, and on top of that, Etsy's sending you some sales too. Those Etsy sales are gravy. Those are great. But if Etsy shuts you down, you still have 4,000 people on Facebook, right? And this is where ultimately my progression is: go from Facebook followers to an email list, because email list can't be taken away from you. You own that 100%. Like, Facebook can't take away your email list. But Facebook's a good place to start. It's a good place to start. It's a good place to start attracting those people into you, building that relationship, and then moving them off Facebook to an email list, which is a higher level strategy. And a lot of Handmade Sellers Club members don't even go that far, right? They're like, I'm just happy what I'm doing here on Facebook. And if Facebook ever took away their page, they know exactly what to do to get their audience right back again. It's not that hard once you learn the strategies. So that's what I think about Michael's Maker Place. Whether they're good, bad, indifferent, they're pretty much the same as everybody else. They will do advertising on your behalf. We do that with Small Shop Discovery. We do advertise on behalf of the people that are on our Small Shop Discovery website and on our Facebook page, and we don't take a cut. If you're a Handmade Sellers Club member, you get featured on those platforms automatically. It's admittedly nowhere near as big as these other platforms. We only have like maybe 1,500 items listed on the entire site right now. The goal is to grow that. We're even looking at having our own live shopping network sometime in the future. But even then, our goal with Small Shop Discovery is get people to your Facebook page, get them to your website to make a purchase, get them into your world so you own that customer. We don't want the customer. We want you to own the customer. So that's the approach that you need to, with any of these third-party platforms, approach it with. All right. And Trisha's second question is, do I have to be on Facebook Marketplace to sell? I actually have 0 strategies for Facebook Marketplace right now. There are ways for very specific products that you could make Facebook Marketplace potentially work. If you were selling plant cuttings or small tomato seedlings and things like that, Marketplace is a great place to be. Think of Marketplace as the old classifieds. It's very similar to Craigslist. Pretty much everything there is used and people are looking for a deal. My mom and her boyfriend accidentally bought the wrong size refrigerator. They wanted me to sell their old, it's not even the old one. They had to for less than a day when they realized that it doesn't fit in the spot. And she's like, oh, so I want to sell it on Marketplace. And I said, well, I'll list it for you, but she's selling it for about what she bought it for. Nobody's going to buy it. We've had one kind of inquiry and that's it. Because Facebook Marketplace, they're looking for deals. They're not looking, it's not a mall, it's a flea market. So be careful with Marketplace in that instance. Now you can try some things, but I have not seen anybody do really well with Marketplace. I do teach how to use even buy sell groups in a way that nobody else teaches. And that's my quick cash method, where you get that engagement on the post and therefore the algorithm picks up the post and shows it to a lot more people. That works really, really well. And that, again, is in my quick cash method. That's not something that I share publicly because I don't want everybody and their brother out there doing it. I only teach it to members. But it is a way of using groups. But yeah, you don't need Marketplace. All you need to sell on all you need to sell online is a Facebook page and a way to accept payments and a product. Like you ultimately need a product. But something like PayPal or Square works fine. Not so much the Venmo and Zelle that can get you in some dicey waters, especially with doing it online. Venmo's better to do in person. But PayPal, Square, both are free to sign up. Yes, they take a percentage. That's the cost of doing business. You have to work that into your prices. But that's all you need, a Facebook page and a way to accept payments. That's the only tech that you need in order to sell online. Now you need a good strategy. You need a good product. you need to have the right kinds of posts that people are actually going to engage with. But tech-wise, Facebook page, PayPal or Square, a way to accept payment. All right. Very good. And Jeff said, very helpful answer. Thank you. I'm glad that was helpful for you, Jeff. I'm going to drop the link for Handmade Sellers Club again because I already got buried. I was just talking about the quick cash method that I only teach to people that are in Handmade Sellers Club in the Superseller and through the Superseller system. So if you're curious about that, you can go in and watch the entire quick cash method during your 2-week $7 trial. So go check that out. All right. Denise said, any suggestions for accounting business software programs for my handmade business? For handmade business specifically, no. There's a lot of them out there that are meant for creatives specifically. And we were actually working with a company for a period of time, and then they kind of fell off the face of the earth. So I guess it's good that we didn't get very far with them. That was creating software specifically for handmade sellers. We use QuickBooks. The downside of QuickBooks is, it does integrate with things like Shopify if you're using Shopify as a website, but it does it in a really stupid high cost way. Like they'll charge you like $50 a month to integrate it with your Shopify. I have a bookkeeper. My bookkeeper is not very expensive. And so she goes and she pulls, and we don't have the handmade business anymore. So we're not on Shopify. All of our payments come through Stripe. And so it's pretty easy for her to maintain now. QuickBooks will integrate with your bank accounts. So if you have all of your expenses paying out of one bank account, which I recommend that you have a business, even if you're still sole proprietor, having a personal account that you only use for business and then attaching to QuickBooks makes things a million times easier. It just sucks all those expenses right in. And then you just have to keep track of cash expenses, etc. Full disclosure, I hate bookkeeping. I won't do it. And usually at the end of the year, before I found my bookkeeper, it was a scramble of me spending 3 or 4 days doing all my bookkeeping because I refused to do it throughout the year because I hate it that much. Hiring a bookkeeper can be a godsend. And if you use something like Upwork, so Upwork, you can find independent contractors that offer all kinds of services. And you can hire somebody right here in the US that's a certified bookkeeper. I interviewed 3 or 4 different candidates, and the very last candidate that I interviewed ended up being miles cheaper because the other ones kept saying, oh, it's going to be like $400 a month. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. I don't have that complicated of a business. And they're like, oh, we have to do all of these things. And I talked to the last one and she's like, yeah, you don't have to do any of those. I was like, I know, I've been doing my books for years. Like, and is she the absolute best bookkeeper on the planet? Probably not. Does she make mistakes? Probably. But it's a small business. It's not, we're not a multinational corporation here. And it is definitely worth every penny we pay to her to do the books and make sure. And I know about where they should be, and they always end up being around there. Looks good to me. I'm calling it a day. And so we hire somebody to do that. And because it's linked to the bank account, like it's easy peasy for her. She grabs a report from Stripe. When we had Shopify, she'd grab the report from Shopify, put that in. If you're using PayPal to collect payments or Square, she can grab the reports from there. And then she does her magic bookkeeper thing. And it takes her like less than an hour a month to do all my books. So that's what I recommend. But more important than that, like I know that's all legal and stuff. That is like the most boring, worst part of business for me. That's why I hired it out. Every week, though, I do my own Profit First bookkeeping, and I highly, 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 without getting too far into Profit First, and I'm sure I have the book here somewhere. Dang it. I was going to grab it real quick, and now I don't see it. I know it's on my shelf here. Usually in that group of books. I don't know what I did with it. But get the book Profit First. Profit First is a game changer. I was just at a high-level mastermind meeting with people with multi-million-dollar businesses. And one of the guy gets up and says, you're supposed to like share resources and whatever at the beginning. And one guy gets up and says, Profit First. And half the room's like, yes, Profit First. Whether you're a big multi-million-dollar corporation or you're a small mom and pop selling handmade products online, you need Profit First. So definitely everybody should read and use Profit First. We do in Handmade Sellers Club, we have an entire program on pricing your products. It's based on the Profit First formula. Because if we build Profit First directly into our pricing, then we're always going to know what we get paid. And then I also have an entire workshop that I did of how I use Profit First, like functionally every week when I sit down and I do my work. What am I doing? I did an entire workshop on that. That's in Handmade Sellers Club as well. Let's see. Brian says I sell on Etsy, but it's my gravy money. I don't base all my income just on Etsy. Yeah, and Brian's a great example of that. Brian's a Handmade Sellers Club member. He's making sales on his website. He still does a handful of in-person shows. It's great to get those extra sales on Etsy, but if Etsy goes away, what's your backup plan? What's your backup plan? And you better have your backup plan in place, especially if you're like Brian and you're depending on the income from your business to support you in any way, and you don't have a backup plan and Etsy goes away. If Brian's business was 100% on Etsy and somebody like copyright strikes him or for stuff that's his own stuff, and he loses his entire shop, Brian's going to be okay because Brian has a very active Facebook page. Brian already has an email list. Brian has a great relationship with his followers and his email list. He can overcome it very, very quickly. It's gravy. It's extra and it's great, but Etsy is not a business on its own. Go Imagine is not a business on its own. I mean, they're businesses, but our business isn't, it shouldn't be an Etsy business or a Go Imagine business. It needs to be our own brand with our own customers, our own following, our own social media presence, our own customer list. Let's see. I'm not quite sure how to say your first name, Renee. I'm not quite sure. What is the best way for people to know you exist, to even find your Facebook page? How do you build your following on there? That's a great question. And it's funny because my daughter Willow, she does a weekly call, coaching call, and she's talking about how to get Facebook followers on the coaching call that she's hosting today in Handmade Sellers Club. And she was like, it's really hard to talk about this because it's really just doing all the other things right, right? So she covers different trainings from the super seller system, one each week. And she'll talk about the quick cash method, and she'll talk about unique product focus, and she'll talk about going live with confidence, and she'll talk about reels. But with followers, if you do all of the other things correctly, the followers is taking care of itself. So followers, like a lot of people think they need to do an action to go get followers. And the easiest action that you can do is invite every single friend and family that you know, right? Just invite all of them to like your page. Just navigate over to your page as you go to your page. Don't log in as your page. Go to your page as you, and then hit the invite, and then just invite everybody. Invite every single person that you know. Whether you think they're interested or not, invite them, because your friends and family are a great place to start. They have the, they already have the know, like, and trust, right? They know you, they like you, they trust you, they want to support you. And if they accept your invite, it's because they want to kind of watch what's going on. They want to support you. They want to share what you're doing. They want to comment. They want to be involved, right? Now, if you've done that and you're like, yeah, but they don't engage, well, that's because the posts that you've made since inviting them suck. Like the post that you're making is not engaging. They still need to be engaged like any other audience member. But they're your first like little tiny core. They're the little nucleus that you're going to build your followers off of. From there, they're going to start sharing. When they comment and like, Facebook will recommend that post to somebody on their friends list. And it builds from there. So that's the simplest way that you can build your followers. My quick cash method on how to use groups, great way to build followers. Again, I'm not going to get into that here. But Reels, Facebook Reels is one of the, I don't want to say best, but it's a really great way to get new followers now, because Facebook, if you do a good reel, if you make a reel that people really like, Facebook's going to push it well beyond your own followers. So normally when you make a post to your page, it only goes out to your followers. So it's very circular, right? I'm talking to my followers see it. And then I'm talking to my followers see it. And it's all kind of like stuck here. Reels get distributed out to here, right? So a reel is going to get your product in front of a lot of people that wouldn't have otherwise seen it. Now I'm starting to see shifts that posts are going that way as well. And I've been listening a lot to Gary Vaynerchuk lately, and he talks about like if you have a TikTok account with 0 followers and you make a really great first video, you could have 2 million views and thousands of followers from that one video. That's similar to Reels on Facebook. Um, but we're starting to see a bit more distribution even of posts that are going out to people beyond just your followers that Facebook is saying through their AI and through their machine learning and all of that. These people kind of like this kind of thing. So if you can get that core group to engage, if you're making posts that your friends and family are all like, this is great, you're fantastic, you're a genius. If we can get them to engage, then Facebook's like, man, this thing's really on fire. It's really vibrating. People are like really engaging with this. How do we get more people to see it? And it will burst it out of just your followers bubble, right? And it will start to distribute it to people beyond that. So I'm seeing that more and more. If you are making good posts, if you're making high engaging good posts, you're going to get more distribution. You're going to attract more people. If you're making reels, you're going to get more distribution. You're going to attract more people. If you're using the quick cash method, you're going to get more distribution. You're going to attract more people. Those are really the key ways to gaining followers. But if you're doing it for the intention of building followers, you're putting the cart before the horse. You want good content first. You want stuff that people react to. Then the algorithm rewards you for that. So don't make a reel that's crappy just because you heard that Allie said that if you make a reel, you're going to get distributed further. Well, nobody's actually going to follow you if the reel is not good, right? Even if it does get distributed further, they're not going to follow you if it's not any good. So that's why we have the training on how to do reels, right? We want you to create content that's actually going to be something that people lean in and say, I really like that. I want to see more of that. Who is this person? Let me check out their page. Let me hit the follow button. Or if you're inviting them to follow your page because they've engaged with your content, because they've liked the reel, they've commented, and you're inviting them to like your page, they're like, yeah, I really did like that thing that they had. And they're more likely to accept that invite. So if you just do all the right things, if you do all the right things, if you follow the super seller system, the followers training is like one of the least important. There's a few things that you can do, like setting up your work set to your page. And, there's just a few other little strategies in there that'll pick you up a follower here and there. But most of it is just reviewing like this. Remember this thing we told you to do in this previous training? Yeah. If you do that, you're going to get followers. Remember this other thing we told you to do? Yeah. If you do that, you're going to get followers. All right. And I should add, running ads is another good way to get followers, but it's also a very expensive way. And it's not one that I focus on. You can boost posts and run ads. But would you rather get free followers slower or more, paid followers faster? But what you boost matters too, right? You can't just boost a post and get more followers. So we have the full boosted post training in there as well. That's another good strategy for getting followers, as long as you have the right strategy. You never boost a loser. Putting money behind a loser post is never going to make it a winner. We show you how to boost the winners and how to identify what's a winner and what's not a winner, so that it actually does get you more followers, more engagement, more sales. All right. Southern Seasoned Decor says, so glad I caught a live. These are usually after my lunches, which is 11:40 a.m. Eastern. Are you on Eastern also? Yes, we are in Ohio. So yes, we are on Eastern. I begun going through the training again, but this time trying to be committed to daily posting because I understand how important that is to wake up the algorithm from the grave. Yes. So posting daily is important. I would go as far as to say, if you could post 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, it would probably work even better. I say probably because, again, you can't make bad posts and say, well, I did the 5 posts. Allie said do 5 posts, and I did 5 posts, but they all are really terrible. We have the Prompts for Profits calendar, shows you how to make daily posts. Post at least once a day. That's the bare minimum. That's going to give you the biggest um, the biggest gain. After that, posting twice a day isn't going to double that gain, right? It's going to give you a little bit more, but not necessarily double. If you do 3 times, it doesn't give you 3 times the result. It's going to give you a little bit more, but not 3 times more. So the once a day is the bare minimum that you want to be doing. We've had members do really, really great with 2, 3 posts a day because they were good at keeping those posts interesting and engaging and stuff that the audience actually wants to like. So you can't like kick the rules out and post additionally. But yeah, the more you post, the more you're visible to your audience, the more they're going to remember you when it's time to buy. Oh, so-and-so's anniversary is coming up. I should get them one of those, fill in the blank, right? Oh, Christmas is coming up. A birthday's coming up. Mother's Day is coming up. Who am I going to buy from? Well, you're going to buy from the one that's been in your feed the most and that you've been interacting with, and you've been showing up to their lives, and you've been salivating over their products forever, right? Now that's top of mind awareness. So the more you can be in their feed, the better. Also, Southern Season, I'm not sure what your real name is because that's your business name. Make sure you're using the Super Seller Success Roadmap. We just published a brand new roadmap that takes you through the Super Seller system step by step. So you're doing everything in the right order and you know what to do if you get stuck somewhere. So make sure you're definitely following the roadmap. And to everybody here, you get the roadmap as well when you join. Even if you join for the 2-week trial, you get the full roadmap and you can follow along and follow that training there. Let's see. Some people use spreadsheets. Some people use QuickBooks. Cindy says, how do you handle shipping when selling on Facebook? That's a great question. Let me add a third thing that you need tech-wise. It all depends. Some of you are going to need something like Pirate Ship. Some of you don't. So if you're selling things like earrings, real easy peasy, you can take it to the post office and just mail. If you charge $3 for shipping, $4 for shipping, that's pretty much going to cover everything. So if you have something lightweight like jewelry, shipping's not a big issue. You don't need additional tech. If you're shipping things that are a little bit bigger, bulkier, and heavier, you will want something like Pirate Ship. I do recommend Pirate Ship. I think it's really great. We're using Pirate Ship right now. We've had more advanced softwares because we were bringing in orders from Amazon, a little bit from Etsy, and our own website, and shipping them all at the same time. So we used to have a lot more complicated software. Since selling that business, Pirate Ship is easy enough. And it will print out a label. You can print it on a plain piece of paper and just use tape it down. If you're printing a lot, you're going to want to get yourself a label spitter outer, a label maker. Fantastic. That changed our lives because we were shipping, 10, 15 packages at a time, and we were cutting out labels and taping them down each time. And that got wearisome. I mean, we did that for 10 years before we bought a label maker. That label printer changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. So yeah, you can use Pirate Ship. Now, what you can do, so say I'm showing off this little crystal and you don't have a base price of what this would cost to ship. It's a little bit heavier. You could probably charge $5 to ship this, and it's going to be probably about right. But let's say somebody wants 12 of these or something like that. And you're like, oh no, that's going to be more than $5. When they say, hey, I want this, you say, cool, I'll send you an invoice. Send me your email and your shipping address, and I'll get you the invoice. They send you their email and shipping address, and then you use their shipping address. You weigh your little products. We used a baby. You remember those really old hospital, like baby weight things? It was like a little basket on the top. We used that for years and years and years. Now we have a digital scale. It's going to cost you like 10 or 20 bucks on Amazon to get a little digital scale. Weigh it on the digital scale. All right. That weighs 1.5 pounds. You go to Pirate Ship, you put in their shipping address, put in the 1.5 pounds, and it's going to spit out a shipping amount for you. And so when you send them the invoice, you say, okay, this is for 12 crystals. That's going to be $120 plus $12.50 for shipping because that's what pirate ship spat out. Easy peasy. Again, if you're doing jewelry, like it's a first class padded envelope, just charge flat rate $5 for shipping. But if you get stuff that starts to add up a lot of weight as you add more, or you have bigger, bulkier items, something like pirate ship is going to be helpful for you. Let's see. Trish said, yes, shipping is a big problem now. So expensive. My items are different sizes and weights. I found U-line for boxes and some items need packing, paper, or foam. Yeah, so U-line's great for boxes. Look, don't get too caught up on shipping is expensive. Yes, it is if you're shipping across the country. In general, shipping prices have all gone up, but most people are still willing to pay it. We used to have people buy our $100 item and pay $80 for shipping. Now, not a lot, but that same product that costs $80 to ship to California still only costs $20 or $25 to ship it to Kentucky from Ohio. So it wasn't that big of a deal. We had enough people around us that were ordering it that we didn't have to depend a lot on California, right? But you'll find that people will pay. People will pay for the shipping. If they really want it, they'll pay. That being said, if your entire business, if you're wanting to sell online and you sell pieces of furniture, it's got to have a high enough value that somebody's going to be willing to ship that. Now, I know like Brian has shipped, I think he's shipped his coffee tables. He makes cribbage board coffee tables, but that's specialized enough that somebody's like, I need to have exactly that. In general, I think that if I were to start a handmade business online today, I would steer away from anything that is big and bulky, and I would go for smaller items. I like the idea of just things that I could slip into an envelope. We've talked about doing things like buttons and pins and things like that. Just to have an easy, like you drop it in the envelope and you ship it, and you don't have to worry about adding up all of that shipping. So lightweight, small products, you're not going to have any problems with your shipping. The bigger your product gets, the heavier it gets, you're going to start running into some shipping problems. All right. Helena says, I have to plug the Post for Profit calendar. It is well thought out, better than any I have seen before. Thank you. We spent a lot of times, that calendar has been 5 years of evolution over the last 5 years of making it better, adding more prompts, making the prompts more explanatory so people aren't getting lost. Watching mistakes that people make with the prompts and trying to head that up. And it's not just a mistake with the prompt. It's just like people are still not following. We have the Power Post training. Some people jump into the calendar. They don't watch the Power Post training. So we're doing everything we can to get in the calendar, the do's and the don'ts, and make sure you're doing it this way or that way. Now that Willow has come on board, she's got a lot of ideas for content. She's really good with the social media posting. She, again, built her entire business, 25,000 followers for her handmade business on Instagram. And so she's been bringing in new ideas for the calendar as well. And I'm really excited to see how it evolves and gets even better. But thank you for that, because that's been a labor of love for me. I love creating that calendar, and I love watching you guys use it. And I love it when somebody comes in the group and says, I did the selfie post and I got most engagement ever and made 3 sales. Like that's, if you're a Handmade Sellers Club member, never shy away from giving us your wins, especially sales. If you're making sales from the post, I love hearing every single one of them. It's just like my favorite thing ever. And the nice thing about the calendar is it keeps the content interesting, right? We're not going flat. Most people have 1 to 3 post types that they just recycle over and over and over again. And I'm being generous with 3. A lot of times people are just like, here's my product, it's for sale. Here's my product, it's for sale. They're really shaking it up if they say Merry Christmas, right? So this is like there's over 200 prompts that we use in these calendars. Some we use often, others we use rarely. But it keeps it interesting because posts come out of nowhere that people haven't seen before. There's different ways to apply the old posts, and it just keeps everything moving, and it keeps the follower on the edge of their seat. And again, leaning in, like, what are they going to say next? What are they going to do next? And not every single post is like super high engagement. Everybody's going crazy trying, wanting to comment on this post. But that's what keeps it interesting, right? I also call it sugar and broccoli. There's the super fun post, but then there's also just answering a frequently asked question. It's not as fun, but it gets people closer to the sale. Everything in that calendar is about getting people closer to the sale. How do we get them closer to the sale till they ultimately pull the trigger and buy? And we want to be driving them nuts with our posts where they're like, I can't stand it anymore. I need to have that. I need to have that. Let's see. I'm not sure what Trish is asking. Is that why people use Instagram, which I can't figure out how to use at all? If you flesh out that question a bit more, it's probably in a response to something that I said, but I don't remember exactly what I said. Diana says, since I found my unique product focus, I changed my page name to it. I need insurance for shows I am doing. Which name should I put on the policy? What you name your business is different than what you need to have necessarily on your Facebook page. You can have somewhere in the about section of your page, like the actual business name, if you need that for legal reasons. But it's entirely up to you. What do you want your business name to be? We had a Facebook page when we were selling rabbit toys. It just said, I love house rabbits. It wasn't our business page at all. It doesn't have to be our business name on a page. You could create 10 different business pages with different names that you just make up on the fly. So you have your legal name, and then you could kind of look at it as like a DBA, right? Doing business as this particular name here. All of that being said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an accountant. I'm not any of the legal things. I am not your state's whatever. I'm not your insurance company. So double check with them. But I'm just saying that's your Facebook name is not a declaration to the world that this is my, like, if you have insurance for a business that you own and that business is under that umbrella, it should be fine. And usually is, but I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an insurance company. I'm not the one running your events. So double check with them. Victoria says, you don't think they'd get tired of seeing posts and leave by posting too much? Great question, Victoria. I love that question because there's a couple of assumptions in that question. I get that question a lot, but there's a couple of assumptions in that. One, you're assuming that everybody is seeing every post. They're not. Only if you're if I'm a follower of your page and super active on your post, meaning I like and comment on everything, then I'll probably see most of your posts. But if I only like or comment every now and again, and I don't pay as much attention, like I'm casually paying attention, I will not see all of your posts. So even if you post 5 times a day, the likelihood that everybody's going to see every post is like this, right? But it increases the amount of people per day that's going to see a post of some kind. The second thing is you're assuming they don't want to see your product, right? Why are they following you if they're not interested in what it is you have to sell? So you're thinking like there's an insecurity there. Like, I don't know if they actually really like me to begin with. And so I really don't want to bug them. And I'm going to just hide back here and not bug them too much, but hopefully they'll buy from me. You want to come out with your full chest, right? You like it. You know, you like my stuff. Here's more of my stuff because these posts are awesome. These products are awesome. The stuff that I made is awesome, right? A lot of people try to hide because they're worried about bugging somebody. And that's why a lot of people don't use email marketing, Now, I use email marketing very aggressively. A lot of you guys know you get a lot of emails from me. Um, Still not as aggressive as some people. Some people that I've subscribed to, I'll get like 3, 4, 5 emails a day. I'm not that person. Although there are definitely times in a day I might send 3 or 4 emails, but not every day. Um, if you're not interested in me or my world or Handmade Sellers Club or selling your products online, yeah, that could get pretty annoying. So then leave. um, the people who are going to be aggravated by seeing your products all the time, one, they're probably not going to see a lot of them because if they don't like your product, they haven't been engaging on your posts and they're only going to see it rarely. And if they unfollow your page, fine, they didn't like it in the first place. If they're unfollowing you because they're like, oh, I'm tired of seeing all these candles, I don't even like candles, then they're going to unfollow. But if they love candles, and I don't know what it is that you sell, I'm just using that as an example. But if they love candles and you're posting candles and candles and candles and candles, and they're like, oh, I like this one and I like that one and I like this one and this is so cool and I got to have one, then they're loving that you're posting all the time. We're posting for our fans. We're not posting for our haters, right? We're posting for our fans. We're posting for the people who want to see us, want to see more of us, who are totally into what we're doing. Now, the last assumption that you make when you ask a question like that is, what was it? You're afraid of being too visible. Yeah, I think it was, I think that it's that my brain just totally went blank. There were 3 assumptions there. 1, you're assuming they're going to see each post. 2, you're assuming they don't really like what you have. And 3, I don't know, there was a third one. Like, it was really good too. I think I probably covered it a little bit in that you're afraid to show yourself. If they do get, I think it was probably going to be, if they get aggravated, they can leave. It's okay if they unfollow your page. Like, you don't need every single follower. Better that you be visible and the people who don't like you leave and the people who like you double, triple down. The last assumption. I know what it was. The last assumption is that they don't like the posts, right? The posts are getting too much. This is why I said that you have to, if you're going to post multiple times a day, more than once a day, if you're going to post multiple times a day, the posts still have to be good. Like, you can't just keep coming with the same picture, with the same post, with the same sort of thing over and over and over again, because eventually they will get bored of it. So the content has to maintain its goodness. Same with posting every day. If you post every day and your content's bad, people aren't going to engage with it. They're not going to see it. Your reach is going to go down and you may lose followers. It's actually kind of hard to lose followers. Mostly they just stop engaging and the algorithm stops delivering the content. So if the posts that you're making are not interesting to your fans, the people who would be your biggest fans, then they're going to stop engaging and that can lower you in the algorithm. So even if you post daily, if you post boring stuff every day, you're going to kill your reach. If you post salesy stuff every day, you're going to kill your reach. If you post highly engaging relationship building posts that is this roller coaster and they're like, oh, this is cool and that's cool, your engagement's going to go up, your reach is going to go up. If you're like, I have more of that to say, I think they would really love to see maybe an extra product a day with a show and tell sort of post or extra sold products, they'll totally be into it. But if you say, oh, those extra posts, I'm going to put links, I'm going to be salesy, I'm going to be boring just to get the extra posts, then yeah, they're not going to enjoy that and almost feel abused, right? Like, I really love these posts, but then you're doing this to me and I hate it. I hate that stuff. And ultimately they're going to stop engaging. So it's got to be good. You got to assume that your posts are good and they're things that people want to see. Again, most people aren't ready to do more than one post a day. I was just using that as an example of being visible, right? We cannot attract new people, build relationships, make sales by being invisible. The more visible you can make yourself, the better. For some people in HSC, they do 2 posts a day. One is their regular prompts for profits post, and the other is a reel, right? So that's being they're posting twice that day. And the reel is going out, going fishing for them, catching all the people and bringing them back to the page. And then the post on the page is developing and continuing to develop that relationship so that you make more sales. All right. And where is Michelle? Amsterdam, did I see? Yes. Michelle said, hi, Allie from Amsterdam. Hello, Michelle. So Michelle has said several times that this European trip that she's on right now is paid for, at least in part, from everything she learned in Handmade Sellers Club. So that makes me happy. That warms my heart. Also, Michelle, don't be watching me. You're in Amsterdam. Like, I appreciate, like, Michelle shows up. Michelle just shows up. But I hope that you're not watching anymore and you're like looking at tulips or something. Because like that's more interesting. This would be replay. Like, you'll watch the replay. You'll be fine. Watch it when you get back. Don't bother watching now. All right. Victoria says the calendar is such a lifesaver. I'm so glad that you think so, Victoria. Again, I'm super, super proud of it. It takes all the guesswork out of it. If you guys have ever stared at the screen and thought, I have no idea what to post, then you need the calendar. If you've ever stared at the screen and thought, I've been posting the same stuff over and over and over again, I guess I'll just keep doing it, then you need the calendar. If you've ever posted and said nobody's ever going to engage anyhow, so what is even the point? You need the entire super seller system and the calendar. Cindy, you have asked this question several times on my YouTube channel. I can't give you an answer for this. So Cindy asks, I crochet granny square Afghans. How much should I charge for a full size? No idea. I don't know how much your material cost is. I don't know how much your labor cost is. We do have a shipping or a pricing calculator in Handmade Sellers Club. But Cindy, I responded to you once on YouTube, and this is for everybody. Maybe I can grab it real quick here. I have a video on YouTube that I did last month, I believe it was. Let me see if I can grab the link for anybody who wants it. It was on a live, and it was how to price your products for profit. I'm going to grab the link for that. Now, it doesn't cover everything, but it's going to give you the overview of what it actually takes to price your products for profit. All the things you have to keep in mind. We do, and I'll show you my calculator in that training. So yeah, you get the calculator if you're an HSC member, but you can see the calculator in action, and then you can plug your own numbers into it. You just might need a pen and paper. But I can't tell you how much to charge for something. You got to figure out your own costs and your own pay, et cetera, et cetera. All right. So there is the link to that. And for anybody not following my YouTube channel, go check it out. My goal is to have 1,000 subscribers to YouTube by the end of this quarter. So by the end of June, we're running 1,000 subscribers. We're at 660 right now. 660. So we only need 340 left to go. There's 41 of you on here now. If everybody runs over to my YouTube channel, click that link and then follow or subscribe to us on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. Betty says, do you need to be consistent in the number of posts each day? If I start posting, let's say 3 times, should I keep it up? No. Some days you're just inspired. Ooh, I've got extra things I want to talk about. You make extra posts. Definitely just post once a day. Post once a day at minimum. If you're inspired, go ahead and make those extra posts, but don't make a rule that you want to start posting 3 times a day and then you start making crappy content because you can't figure out what those extra posts should be. You can definitely use the calendar too. I mean, the calendar should be your guide for additional posts, And Willow and I have been talking about this actually, and I think I mentioned it on yesterday's live in HSC, of actually creating like an additional post guide. If you're going to post additional posts, here are the posts that you can use that don't take a whole lot of effort to create. Like sold items, post a sold item. Unless you're selling 10, 15 items a day, if you're selling a couple of items a day, post them as sold on your page, especially if they're one of kind items. If you have items that you're reproducing over and over again, maybe not every time you sell one, but whenever there's like a really cool story about one that you sold, that could be a great additional post. All right. Susan says, Facebook keeps telling me my best time of day is 3 p.m. What does that mean? And is it true? So I've never bought into the time of day thing. Almost all other social media managers are like, yes, time of day. We have to get exactly the right time of day. When they're on, that's when the post should go out. Like the post doesn't just live at that time of day. If you post in the morning, somebody can still see it in the evening. I made a post this morning and people are still commenting on it at like, as of like going live, people were still commenting on it. So like 4 hours later, people were still commenting on it. I made a post yesterday that people are still commenting on today. So the time of day thing never made a lot of sense to me. Also, if you consistently post at 9 and you see a bump at 9 because it did just pop up in their feed and you get a little bit of a bump, then Facebook may say that your best time is 9. So it never made any sense. Even like all these softwares are like, we'll figure out the best time for you to post. I think it's mostly bullcrap. Facebook gives it a little bit of time for a post to take traction. You can post at the perfect time or at the same time every day, and some posts will take off and some posts won't. You can post at the perfect time. Some posts are going to take off, some posts don't. What's in the post is more important than the time. With that being said, I tend not to recommend people post really late at night, like after 9 o'clock. Because after 9 o'clock, Facebook gives it a few hours, but people are starting to go to bed. You have fewer people that can see the post to engage with it. And it's possible that's going to pull down the algorithm so that it doesn't have as much algorithm juice in the morning. But other than that, I've seen posts at 7 p.m. do well. I like to post first thing in the morning. Normally, sometimes I post in the afternoon because I forgot to schedule my post or I've got a second post that I want to make. But generally my posts are first thing in the morning and they have all day to gain their algorithm juice. If it's a super highly engaging post, they'll still be commenting on it the next day. There are some posts, I made the post, nothing happened. And I'm like, man, did I like fall in a Facebook crack? I delete it, post it again. It does great. Other posts, I do that. I delete it and I post it again and it still falls. It still doesn't work. So like people just don't like the post or it's weird that day. Like a busy news day can affect things. There are so many variables that I just don't worry about them. And I think that timing is one of those variables that I'm just not really worried about. I just really don't worry about it. I focus more on making good posts that people are going to like. And if I see over a period of time, like people are just not engaging with the post style that I'm doing, I'm like, all right, what do I need to do to change that? And that's the other thing. Even if you're following the calendar and you're like, man, I'm really not getting engagement on these posts, it may take an approach change. And this is why we have Handmade Sellers Club, the group. Take a screenshot of several of your posts. Not just one post, like 3 or 4 posts, and post them in the group and say, these are the posts I've been making. Is there a different way that I could be saying this? Because maybe you're getting more salesy and you don't realize it. Maybe you're getting more business talk and you don't realize it. Maybe your pictures have really declined. Like there's something there that's happening. And it's hard to say. And then sometimes it's time of year where like your post could be perfect, but it's at a time of year when people are less interested in that kind of thing. And so it dips. We'll tend to see a dip in July. And then I was just looking through some past testimonials where like Michelle had said, yeah, it's usually a dip in July. So I doubled down in July and it's one of my best months I've ever had. So like the variables are all over the place. Don't get caught in the weeds. Just keep chugging along, making content and always strive and attempt to make better and better and better content and not worry about all of these little tricks and hacks to get you more engagement. Let's see. Trish says, I make 3 types of handmade items: wood stencil, ceramic pottery, and now mixed media paintings. Is that too much one Facebook page? It's mostly stencils. Yes, it's too much. It's too much. You need one of those 3. You need to focus on one of those 3 for your online sales on a particular Facebook page. Okay. One page. I'm working on, we're going to be doing a webinar next Monday evening on how to sell out of everything that you make on Facebook without the tech overwhelm, without the website, without whatever. And one of the taglines I came up with was something like, one page, one plan, one calendar, like one platform, one calendar, one plan, one platform. And also one product. It's got to be one product, because the people who are going to buy wood stencils are not the same people that are going to buy ceramic pottery, which are not the same people that are going to buy mixed media paintings. We've tested this. We've tried this. I don't want to get too far into this because I could spend the next half an hour talking about this. I highly recommend Handmade Sellers Club. Watch the unique product, but we'll go through the roadmap. But if you go through the roadmap, honestly, even in your 2-week trial, you can be to unique product focus pretty quickly. Go through the unique product focus, and I give all the reasons why having multiple different kinds of products on one Facebook page is absolutely going to kill your sales. Do you want to work harder? Or do you want to work smarter? Working smarter means one product. Working harder means trying to force three products to work. You might make a sale here and there, but you're going to be swimming upstream and you're not going to have the momentum. Picking a unique product focus. And again, members of mine will tell you in the comments, those that have picked a unique product focus versus being broad in general to narrowing down, it's either the same because they haven't really done other parts of the program, or it's increased. It's never gone down. It never decreases your sales by narrowing down, at least not long term. Michelle says it's evening. I'm crocheting and doing what I love. Oh, I'm glad that I'm glad you're hanging out. Lana says, Allie, how can we not show up for you? Oh, you're so sweet. You guys are so great. Let's see. Michelle says, join us. HSC is totally worth it. Totally agree. Best value for your money out there on the market right now. There are some other programs that have coaching, but they're high tech, right? Every single one of them is high tech, high skilled strategies. I'm going low tech, low skill. You don't need to know a lot to get started. Now we're going to help you build your skills, right? I want to help you build your skills. It doesn't mean that you never have to have skills, but you can start with almost no skills and start making those baby steps up instead of going from, I don't know anything about tech, and now I have to run ads and build an email list and like run promotions on my website. I have built a website too. We're going to just start at the very beginning and take those steps up. Okay, let's make sure you have a good product to begin with. A lot of those other programs out there don't even question your product. That's huge. If you don't have the right product to begin with, no amount of marketing on the planet is going to get you sales. So that's where we start. We start with building a really strong foundation for your business, and then build on that. So your confidence and your skills grow and grow and grow as your sales and your customer count grows and grows and grows, and you grow into a successful business owner, which I love. That's why I do what I do. Pam says, joining HSC is the best decision I made for my business. I love that. I think that's so great. Tiffany said, I would love a guide for what to post in groups. We've been talking about that. It's in the training, but we've been talking about creating just a separate download. So that, because a lot of people keep getting confused, even though it's in the training, post these kinds of posts. The PFP post should not be done in groups. You need to do specifically the types of posts we talk about in the training. Joyce said, I just got started on my Facebook page and just found you. How do you recommend that I start getting followers? So I talked about that at the beginning. Honestly, Joyce, if you just started your Facebook page, now is the perfect time for you to join HSC. Because it's how you get followers is by following all the best practices for making sales on Facebook. Followers is a result. It's not an intention in itself. So when you do all the right things, your followers will grow. In fact, we even have, we call it the 1,000 followers mug. I have back when Facebook called them likes and not followers. We had the 1,000 people like me mug. Now we have one that says 1,000 people follow me. I need to order a new one of the new ones so that I have it here. Because before you know it, we've had members start at 0 that now have 2, 3, 4,000 followers, but they didn't build all those followers by trying to get followers. They built those followers by attempting to get sales. And when they do the sales things, when they do the things that are building the community, building that know, like, and trust, building the brand, the followers are a result of that. Yeah, Joyce, start with HSC. $7 for a 2-week trial. $7 for a 2-week trial. I'll drop the link again. It's $7 for a 2-week trial, and then it's only $27 a month after that. That's less than $1 a day for the shortcut. That's less than $1 a day to not having to figure it out for yourself. That's less than $1 a day for the exact post that you need to be making to your page. The advantages of HSC, I can't even go through them all right now. There's so many advantages to being in HSC. The super seller system, the Handmade Sellers Club community, again, the weekly calls, the coaching calls that we do, the monthly challenges to make sure you're staying on track, the pricing calculator, the how to sell online 101, just like the basics of like what's the difference between Shopify and Etsy and that sort of stuff. Small shop discovery and all the additional exposure and followers you can get from small shop discovery for $27 a month. I mentioned that I was at that mastermind and I said out loud what I charge for this program and everything that is included. And people were shaking their head and they were like, you are providing way too much for what you're charging. And I'm aware of that. I know that I am. But I was where you are now, right? I was there where I couldn't afford $1,000 program. I couldn't afford $100 a month program, right? And I needed the help to get myself to sales, to just making any sales. And I didn't have a whole lot of money to put into it. Now I can't make it free. I still have to pay my bills and I still need to pay my staff and all of that. So we can't make it free. But I'm pretty stubbornly sticking to $27 a month for everything that you need to get started with online sales. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that link again. If you're getting the Starbucks coffee, and somebody said, I'll just let go of I just won't get my daily sweet tea to pay for the program. And I'm like, I want you to pay for the program and have your daily sweet tea because we're making you sales. It's not a cost. It's an investment. You invest in this program, you work the system, you follow through the roadmap, you get sales in return. That's the deal. And if you don't, and it's not a good fit for you, you can cancel anytime. There's no long-term commitment. The only long-term commitment is if you sign up for the yearly, then you're committing to a year. But if you want to just test it out, take the 2-week trial for $7. You have 2 weeks to figure out if it's right for you. And then it's $27 a month and you can cancel anytime. All right. Tiffany says there's so much help and guidance in the group and all the info you need to get started. It's so worth it. And with the 2-week trial, there's not really anything to lose. Thank you, Tiffany. I really appreciate your words there. Let's see. Trish said, I'll go with smarter. Smarter versus harder. Go with smarter. Just do it smarter. Just do it. There's a proven way to do this. And bucking that system is the harder way to do it. Joyce says, I believe that I need the calendar and what to say on the post. I post pictures and info of my items, but I only sell very few. If you're selling any by just posting pictures of your items with a little bit of info, then I think this calendar is going to blow you out of the water. Brian says, I've easily tripled my sales by specializing in just cribbage boards. Yeah, Brian came to me with a little bit of everything. It was all woodworking, but we narrowed it down to cribbage boards, and he hasn't looked back since. And Brian, this is his job. This is all he does. And just cribbage boards, and it's fantastic. I love it. Rosemary says, hi, Allie. If you have skip a day or two to post for whatever reason, will algorithm drop a lot fast? Not necessarily. Skipping a day or two, but if you do that often, then you're not posting every day, right? And the algorithm is not getting consistent data from you, and your followers are also seeing you fewer and farther between. So it's not the end of the world. Like, we've had people have family emergencies and that sort of thing, and they skip a week. We've had people that have had major life changes and have skipped a month. They just jump right into daily, and the algorithm picks back up again. But if you want the best result, I wouldn't miss too many days. But it's not like, you have to feed it constantly or it dies. With the algorithm, it's more about feed it constantly. It's going to give you better results. If you don't feed it, it will sit in stasis and wait for you to come back. If you feed it junk, it will die. So I tell people it's better to not post at all than to post junk, because not posting at all, Facebook will jump right back into it as soon as you put good content out there again. Feed it junk, and it wants to protect its users, and it knows the users don't like that junk. And so it stops distributing your posts, and your views go way down. That's what we want to avoid. Cindy says, 100% agree that Handmade Sellers Club is worth it. There is so much training and support built in. Thank you, Cindy. Really excited to see Cindy growing and doing all the cool things she's been doing. She was part of our hot seat before, which we're going to have another hot seat at the end of this month. Next week, instead of a regular workshop, I think we're going to talk about some mindset stuff. Because I find more than anything that holds a lot of people. Yes, you need the right strategies, but I can give you all the best strategies in the world. But if you're afraid of being visible, and if you're afraid of putting yourself out there, you're not going to get very far. And it's just this junk in your head. Business is a mental game. So I want to talk about that next week on our call, about the mental game of business and the mindset stuff that can kind of get in the way, or that can help you. Helena says, Allie is not kidding. It's absolutely super simple. You just got to put in a few minutes a day at minimum to get those daily posts out. Exactly. I say like 30 minutes a day working on your business marketing is a good baseline. Some people spend a lot less time than that. Some people spend more time than that. You get out of it what you put into it. But if you can just put in 30 minutes a day, even just during the week, Monday through Friday, 30 minutes a day, you're going to see really great results if you're following a good strategy. But if you only have 15 minutes a day, this system can still get you to where you want to be. If you've got 5 minutes a day, that's going to be tight. You're definitely going to be able to follow the calendar, but there's trainings to follow. You're not going to be able to work groups as much in 5 minutes a day, but 30 minutes a day gives you plenty of time to make your posts, respond to comments, work the groups, pre-schedule your posts in advance, do Facebook lives, do reels, etc. You can get all of that done in 30 minutes a day. And that's using the program at its most efficient. You can spend more time than that, but you'll be really efficient at 30 minutes a day. All right. Joyce says, sorry, I was late to the party here. No problem. You can also go back and rewatch. Lana says, that's my favorite mug. So Lana was one of the very earliest receivers of the 1,000 People Like Me mug years and years ago. Let's see. Halia said, I started HSC when I was first starting out, and I'm learning to do things the right way. I started with 122 followers and just hit over $500, and my sales are around $1,500 a month. Halia, I love that. That's fantastic. So you had just gotten to $500 in sales. Is that what you're saying? And 122 followers. And now she's doing $1,500 a month, including us. We bought a collar for our dog. Your collars, right? I get the collars and the snuffle logs mixed up. So correct me if I'm wrong. But fantastic. Great job. Let's see. Oh, now you have 500 followers. I see. And making $1,500 a month. Started with 122 followers. And look, 500 followers isn't a ton. And you can still be doing $1,500 a month. Like, you don't need a ton of followers. We had, I remember when the tie-dye ladies joined us, they were at 200 followers for a long time. They had a hard time getting past that, like between 200 and 300 followers. They were stuck there for a while, but they were still doing $2 to $3 grand a month with just that few followers. So yeah, you don't need to have a bajillion followers. Helena says, when I say it's simple, I mean you're not going to feel overwhelmed, that all the guides are beyond excellent. Awesome. Yeah, yearly costs $270 for the year. And if you sign up like right now for the yearly, I'll give you a Facebook page review. I don't always offer that, but yeah, we do offer Facebook page review for anybody that signs up for yearly. And if anybody's a member and wants to upgrade to yearly, just contact Danny, info@creativesuccesssecrets.com, and Danny will get you the instructions on how to upgrade, and we'll get you a free Facebook page review as well. All right, cool, guys. I think that is all I can do. Although Peggy just said I have doubled my sales every month since starting this year. I'm almost ready to do my first live sale. Yes. I love that. Carolyn said it's the best money you will ever spend on your business. Trust me, your sales will increase way more than the cost. Carolyn's a great success story. Carolyn, I need your story. I was just thinking about a few people. Michelle King, same thing, like on the website. We don't have your story on the website. We don't have Michelle's story on the website. There's a bunch of people that are not on the website on the information page for HSC that really need to be there. And Carolyn is definitely one of them. She started at 0. I don't know if you're still on, Carolyn. How many followers do you have now? So she was at 0. She didn't have a page. I think she made her first sale when she had 50 or 100 followers, I think it was, and has been killing it ever since. And is retired, I believe. I believe you did retire, right? And able to use the money that she's making from her business, which is awesome. Carol said mindset strategies would be awesome. We'll definitely talk about that. Halia is, yes, dog collar is good. Because in my head, like because I bought Miley the snuffle log and the collar for Christmas. And in my head, like those two businesses are the same person. I keep trying to like remember who is who on that. All right, great. Thank you guys. This was fantastic. I hope you had a lot of fun, because I had a lot of fun. I like to hang out with you. And so Carolyn's at 1,328 now. First sale right away. I'm retired from my other job. How do I get you my story? I will let you know, Carolyn. I will reach out for sure. Thank you for that information, though. Yeah, no, Carolyn's done fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, your first sale right away, but you still had like 50 followers, I want to say. I think you had 50 followers when you made your first sale. I think it was friends and family you invited in, and that's when you got your first sale. That's it. In my head, I'm remembering it that way. All right, guys. I'll be back next week. We're going to talk mindset stuff. We're going to talk about all the things that get you stuck in the mental game of business, and how to get you unstuck so you start taking action in your business and actually growing it. Week after that, we will be doing a hot seats with an HSC member, where we're going to do a live coaching session right here on the call, which is a lot of fun. And watch your emails and watch here on the page for this upcoming webinar. It is going to be Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I just about have the registration page finished, but again, it's how to sell out of everything that you make without Etsy, without a website, and without the tech overwhelm in just 30 minutes a day. So check that out. Watch for that. It's something. I mean, it's not brand new. It's my system, right? So if you're thinking like, what is this super seller system? We're going to talk through what the actual system is for making daily sales, and why websites and Etsy, etc., are not necessarily the place to start. We talked about a lot of that here, but on that webinar, I'm going to be laying it out in order, piece by piece, so you see how the entire system works together, and to get you sales. So check that out, and I will see you guys later. If you're in the HSC, go say hi to Willow. She's going to start at 2 with her coaching call, and I will talk to everybody next time. Bye.